Today we need to talk about something that is often overlooked but is super important: diaphragmatic breathing. Whether you're lifting heavy weights, are pregnant, or are just trying to improve your overall fitness, this technique is a game changer. Today, I'll not only explain what diaphragmatic breathing is, but I'll show you how to practice it step by step. Let's dive in. First and foremost, we need to understand what diaphragmatic breathing is. It's also called belly breathing or deep breathing. Instead of taking shallow chest breaths, we actually want to be engaging our diaphragm to take deeper, more efficient breaths. So when you breathe this way, not only does your belly expand, but your ribs expand laterally as well as your back. It's known as a 360 expansion. This is not only a great way to maximize oxygen intake, but it also helps stabilize your core, which is why it's so important to understand this technique when you are lifting weights, especially during pregnancy. When you are lifting weights, your core stability is everything. Proper diaphragmatic breathing creates that intra-abdominal pressure, which is going to help you protect your spine so you can lift safely and efficiently. Now, if you're pregnant, diaphragmatic breathing is even more crucial. Pregnancy puts a lot of pressure on your core and your pelvic floor. So learning to breathe properly can help reduce any strain and make labor and recovery postpartum a lot easier. Plus, it's a great way to stay connected with your body during this exciting time. All right, so let's practice some diaphragmatic breathing together. You can do it sitting, you can do it standing, you can do it lying down. Lying down is probably gonna be the easiest way to implement this strategy. Sitting is gonna be in between. Standing is gonna be the most difficult. So depending on where you feel like you are currently at with your breathing, that's where I would start at. If you're the type of person who is like, I am a very shallow chest breather, probably a good idea to start out lying down. But just so you guys can visually see me a little bit better, I'm going to be sitting, and actually probably better if I'm in my sports bra. It's actually like freezing. It's like -10 today. So my garage is cold. So I might put my sweater on in between, but obviously it's going to be really good for you guys to see my ribs expanding in that lateral direction, so I can show you how to create that 360 expansion that is needed to do this correctly. So let me just bring you guys a little bit more closer here. So there are two different parts to this. When we are doing diaphragmatic breathing, that's part number one. In a future video, I'm going to show you guys how to connect that with your pelvic floor. That becomes much more important if you are pregnant, and then implementing the two together while you are lifting weights. So if you aren't used to diaphragmatic breathing as of yet, I would start off by practicing like this, and then you want to make sure that you're implementing it while you are lifting weights. So the first thing that we want to do is just try to focus on expanding our breath into our ribs, okay? So we're going to take both of our hands and put it on our sides. And when we are inhaling, we should notice that our hands are expanding laterally, okay? Further away from us. And then when we exhale, that's when we're contracting, and our hands should naturally close closer together, okay? So I'll show you a couple of breaths here. Hopefully you guys should see my hands moving outwards, right? So let's do it again. Whereas most people, their chest is going up and down, right? It's like, obviously I'm exaggerating, but we don't want that, especially if you're just really stressed out. Like, you don't have to be pregnant, you don't have to be lifting weights in order to implement this breathing technique. But if you're just a high stress person, it's probably because you're doing a lot of shallow chest breathing. So implementing this can make a huge difference with just even reducing your anxiety. So like I said, It's a 360 expansion. So we've done half of it, right? So we're focused on bringing our hands in and out when we are breathing in and out. The next component is gonna be our belly expanding in and out. So we're gonna have one hand on our ribs, one hand on our stomach, and as we are breathing in, our hands should be going further away and our stomach should be coming out. And then when we breathe back out, that's when things will obviously contract. Okay, a couple of breaths here. So you can see my stomach is going out and my side, okay? Let's do it from a side angle here. And yeah, hopefully you guys can still see my ribs, but that's okay. You can kind of get it from just how my stomach is going out, okay? So what I would do is do a couple of sets where you're focused on your ribs, where it starts to feel a little bit more natural. It's like, okay, I'm starting to get it. I can tell that it is naturally going in and out. Then I want you to start to focus on the belly expansion as well as your ribs going in and out. And then the final component, again, 360 expansion, is going to be breathing into your back. This is probably the most challenging one, and it may feel a little bit weird at first and may take a little bit of time for you to get used to, but hey, you know what? That's why we are doing this today. That's why we are going to practice. So to kind of get that mind-muscle connection, if you will, have one hand either on your ribs or on your stomach, whichever one you feel like you're struggling with getting that air into a little bit more. That's where I'd focus on keeping your first hand. So maybe it's your stomach and your ribs expanding in and out is no problem. You can have one hand on your stomach, one hand on your back, and then focus on, again, filling up and then letting out. Nothing in your chest. Shoulders shouldn't be going up and down or anything like that. Okay, let's do a couple breaths here. Now the back one is very subtle. I know you guys can't see my hand moving, but I can feel it moving. So that's really exciting. I'm happy to see that my 3D expansion is pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's the type of breathing that you want to implement as much as possible throughout the day. Even if you're sitting at your desk, really try to pay attention to your breathing and implement these strategies. The less shallow chest breathing that we can do, the better it's going to be, not only with just reducing our stress, but giving us more oxygen delivery as well too, protecting our spine when we are lifting weights. And if you're pregnant, like I said previously, you get a lot of pressure on your core and your pelvic floor. This is going to be a really great way to take that pressure off and allow you to stay connected to your body. So there you have it, diaphragmatic breathing. I know that it sounds super boring, but it makes a huge difference, regardless if you're just trying to improve your overall health and wellness, if you're preparing for motherhood, or if you just like lifting some heavy weights. It is such a beneficial tool that's really going to amplify all of these areas of your life.